Happy Wednesday. We're in Matthew 13 looking at the parable of the sower, and we have been thinking about soil. Now, if Jesus were living today, the illustrations that we would find in the New Testament would not probably be about soil. If he was a trader, they would be about the market. If he was a teacher, they would be about the classroom. If he was something else, right, they would flow out of the things that people were doing. He was around people who were shepherds. He writes about sheep. He was around people who were doing some fishing. He writes about, fish. So it's very contextualized. And Jesus is a carpenter, and that, by the way, didn't simply mean what we think of as a carpenter. He was a builder. And so you build with whatever's available. If you've been to Israel, there's not a lot of trees there. So you did a lot of building with rocks. But he was sort of a master of sort of masonry, rock building, and also wood. So there are lots of agrarian and pastoral sort of metaphors in the Bible, and we have this agrarian one about soil. Now, I don't know if you've thought much about soil. I haven't. I did at one point. So back 25 years ago, I was trying to learn how to write for publication. It's a thing. And you sort of have to, it's less of an art form than it is just a thing that you learn. It's a craft, and you have to learn how to, sort of fit your articles and deliver what people want. So I was very anxious to write for any publication that would accept my writing. And so I was always shopping around for somebody that would. And I had a neighbor who, this is in Washington State, had a neighbor who was very into the outdoors, and he had a big garden, and he was into composting. And just in an effort to sort of engage him and be interested in what he was interested in, I read an article once about composting with worms. And so I mentioned it to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm building that kind of a compost pile right now." So I decided. So he's going to build. He's going to have this compost pile, and he's going to get worms. He's going to put them in there, and he's going to put his garbage in there, and that's his plan. So I build a box, and instead of putting soil in there, which is what you're supposed to do, and soil and then your garbage, not. By the way, if you're doing this, not eggshells or citrus. But instead of doing any of that, I went to Starbucks, and I found out that you could get all the coffee grounds at the end of the day. So I went to Starbucks, and I got this bag of coffee grounds. And then I went to a bait shop, and I got a bunch of worms, and I put them in there. And I'm thinking, this is gold. I mean, these worms are going to be hyped up on caffeine, and they're going to eat this. And it worked. It was incredible. I had this incredibly rich soil. But I learned two things when you have incredibly rich soil. One is, when you put it in the ground, weeds begin to grow all right away because it's rich soil. So the rich soil of your life, let's just, bring this home here. The rich soil of your life can grow lots of different kinds of things. Some of them are the things that are of God, and some of them may not be. A second thing that you learn is that soil, especially you see this when you've got soil in which you've got 500 worms working 24 hours a day. That soil is light. It breaks apart. But good soil that is compressed becomes, not good soil. The seed cannot get into it. And so there's an obvious metaphor there. If our life is compressed, if you're going too fast, if there's no time for sort of things to be processed and for there to be air and there to be light and all of that, then that doesn't work either. So we need good soil. But we need good soil that is sort of dedicated to the things of God, and we need good soil that is not compressed. We got one more day thinking about the parable of the sower. See you tomorrow.